calendar turned. Fireworks exploded across skies painted with manufactured joy. They clinked their glasses, kissed strangers, made promises they'll abandon by February, screamed about fresh starts and new beginnings like the date on a wall somehow erases the rot beneath their skin. And you sat in the dark, didn't you? Not because you couldn't join them, because you knew what they refused to see. The new year didn't arrive with hope. It arrived with a sound. The sound of something already cracked finally giving way. What was broken has shattered, completely, irreversibly, and they're still pretending they can glue it back together with affirmations and vision boards. Let me tell you something they don't want you to understand. Broken things hold shape. A broken vase still looks like a vase. A broken mirror still reflects. A broken man still walks, talks, performs the rituals of normalcy. But shattered is different. Shattered is beyond repair. Shattered is when the structure disintegrates into fragments so small, so scattered, that reassembly becomes a fantasy. And that's what happened to you, isn't it? Not this year, not last year, years ago, maybe decades ago. You broke long before anyone noticed. But this new year, this arbitrary marker of time they worship like it means something, this is when you finally shattered. And the strangest part, it didn't hurt. It felt like relief. They don't understand this, they can't. They live in a world where everything can be fixed, where therapy and self-help books and motivational speakers can patch any wound, where forgiveness and moving forward and letting go are the solutions to every form of damage. They believe in healing because they've never actually been destroyed. They've been bruised, disappointed, inconvenienced. They mistake discomfort for trauma and wonder why you don't just get over it like they did. But you didn't go through what they went through. You went through something that changed your molecular structure, something that rewired you at a level so deep that the person you were doesn't exist anymore. And when the new year arrived, when everyone else was celebrating rebirth, you were finally acknowledging death. The death of who you were supposed to be, the death of the illusions you carried, the death of the last fragment of hope that things could return to how they were. What was broken has shattered, and they see it in your eyes now. That's why they avoid your gaze. That's why they stop talking when you enter the room. That's why they ask if you're okay with that nervous tremor in their voice, not because they care, but because they sense something has fundamentally changed, and it terrifies them. You've crossed a threshold they don't have maps for. You've entered a territory where their rules don't apply, where their social contracts hold no weight, where their expectations bounce off you like light off a black hole. You've become something they fear without understanding why they fear it. And the new year amplifies this, because while they're pretending to evolve, you've actually transformed. While they're making shallow promises to drink more water and go to the gym, you've undergone a metamorphosis that can't be reversed. The shattered man is the most dangerous man because he has nothing left to protect. The broken man still guards his pieces, still hopes to be put back together, still plays by the rules because he believes in eventual restoration. But the shattered man, he knows. He knows there's no going back. He knows the game is rigged. He knows that everything they told him about hard work, kindness, loyalty, doing the right thing, was a convenient lie to keep him compliant. And when those realizations don't just enter your mind, but become your operating system, when they're not thoughts but fundamental truths etched into your consciousness, you don't act like everyone else anymore. You can't. The frequency has changed. This is what they sense but can't articulate. You're operating on a different frequency now. They're still broadcasting on the channels of hope, progress, optimism, the belief that society rewards good behavior and punishes bad. But you've tuned into something else. Something ancient. Something that predates their civilized delusions. You've tapped into the frequency of raw reality, where survival isn't noble, where fairness is a myth, where the universe doesn't give a single fuck about your suffering. And once you lock into that frequency, you can't unhear it. It plays constantly. It's in every interaction, every news story, every false smile, every corporate email pretending to care about your well-being. You see the machinery now, the gears turning, the manipulation, the scripts they follow, and you've stopped pretending you don't see it. What was broken has shattered, and in that shattering, something was released. Not hope, not love, not any of the things they tell you to cultivate. What was released was clarity, brutal, unfiltered, merciless clarity. The kind that doesn't comfort, the kind that doesn't inspire, the kind that simply shows you what is, stripped of every comforting narrative. You see people as they are now, not as they pretend to be. You see society as it functions, not as it claims to function. You see yourself without the filters of ego or delusion. And that clarity, that awful, beautiful clarity, is your weapon. Because while they're still lost in the fog, you've burned through it. While they're still believing the stories, you've read the source code. While they're celebrating a new year like it's a cosmic reset button, you're sitting in the ashes of the old you, completely unattached to their timeline. The new year has arrived. They needed it to arrive. They needed that psychological marker, that permission to believe change is possible, because without it, they'd have to confront the fact that they're exactly who they were yesterday, last month, last year, and they will be exactly who they are tomorrow. But you don't need the new year. You don't need external validation for transformation. You don't need a date to give you permission to become something else. You shattered on your own schedule, in your own darkness, with no audience, no support, no celebration. And that's why you're real and they're performative. That's why you've changed and they've just changed outfits. That's why they're still playing pretend and you've stopped playing entirely. Let me tell you what they fear most about the shattered man. It's not his anger. Anger they can handle. Anger is predictable, controllable, can be labeled and medicated and therapized away. It's not his bitterness. Bitterness they expect. Bitterness confirms their narrative that you're just damaged goods who needs to work on himself. What they fear is your indifference. Your absolute, complete, soul deep indifference to their games, their hierarchies, their approval, their judgment. The shattered man doesn't care. Not in the edgy teenager way. Not in the defensive, I'm pretending not to care way. He genuinely doesn't care because the part of him that needed their validation was obliterated in the shattering. And a man who doesn't care about what society thinks is a man who can't be controlled, can't be shamed, can't be manipulated, can't be leveraged. And that makes him a threat to the entire system that depends on everyone caring desperately about what everyone else thinks. This new year, while they're setting intentions and making plans, you're existing in a space beyond intention. You're not trying to become better. You're not trying to become anything. You're simply being what the shattering revealed. And what it revealed is someone who doesn't fit their templates anymore. Someone who doesn't respond to their carrots or their sticks. Someone who looks at their entire circus and feels nothing but a distant, almost anthropological curiosity. How do they maintain the illusion? How do they convince themselves the masks are real? How do they sleep at night performing the same script day after day, year after year, calling it life? You used to do it too. You remember, but that version of you is gone, shattered, scattered across a floor you've already walked away from. The broken man mourns his brokenness. He wishes he could go back. He fantasizes about return. He sees his damage as a problem to be solved. But the shattered man, he doesn't mourn. He doesn't wish for return. He sees his shattering as an event that revealed truth. The structure that held you together was a cage. The identity you protected was a prison. The life you thought you wanted was a script someone else wrote. And when it all shattered, when the carefully constructed you exploded into fragments, what remained wasn't wreckage. It was raw material. Not for rebuilding what was, for creating something entirely other. Something they have no category for. Something that makes them uncomfortable because it exists outside their understanding of how people should be. They celebrate the new year because they believe in cycles. Spring, summer, fall, winter, death, rebirth, failure, redemption. They need to believe that everything circles back, that losses can be recovered, that time heals, that tomorrow offers what today denied. But you've left the cycle. The shattering ejected you from the wheel. You're not coming back around. You're not healing into who you were. You're not recovering the dreams they sold you. You're something else now. Something that doesn't fit their mythology. And that's why when they look at you this new year, there's a flicker of fear in their eyes. Because you remind them of a possibility they can't accept. The possibility that some things, once shattered, don't reassemble. The possibility that some transformations aren't improvements. The possibility that someone can survive complete destruction and come out the other side not stronger in the inspirational movie way, but colder, sharper, unrecognizable. What was broken has shattered, And you know what they don't tell you about shattered things? They're impossible to step on without consequences. A broken vase in the corner might be sad, might be pitied, might be ignored. But shattered glass on the floor, everyone has to walk carefully. Everyone has to pay attention. Everyone has to acknowledge its presence. The shattered man commands space not through aggression but through undeniable existence. You can't pretend he's not there. You can't pat him on the head and tell him it'll get better. You can't offer him the same tired platitudes because something in his energy rejects them before they leave your mouth. He's standing in the room as living proof that their formulas don't work, their promises are empty, their system is broken. And they hate him for it, not consciously, but underneath, where their own doubts live, where their own fears whisper, they hate him because he's what they might become if they ever stopped lying to themselves. The new year has arrived with its champagne and confetti, its resolutions and goal-setting workshops, its ads for gym memberships and dating apps and productivity planners. The new year has arrived with the same old promises dressed in updated packaging, and they'll buy it, again, because they have to. Because without the hope that this year will be different, they'd have to confront the reality that the game is fixed. The deck is stacked, and most of them will end this year exactly where they started, just 12 months older and slightly more desperate. But you started this year already at the bottom, already shattered, already beyond their hopes and fears, and from that position, there's nowhere to fall. There's only observation, only movement, only the strange freedom that comes from having nothing left to lose because everything that could be lost has already been obliterated. This is your advantage. This is your weapon. Not positivity. Not resilience in the way they define it. Not bouncing back or getting over it or moving forward. Your weapon is that you've moved through. You've passed through the fire they're still afraid of. You've died the death they're frantically avoiding. You've shattered in ways they can't imagine, and you're still here, not as inspiration, not as a triumph over adversity story, but as a fact, a cold, hard, undeniable fact. You survived what was supposed to destroy you, and in surviving, you became something that doesn't play by their rules anymore, something that exists in the margins of their reality, something they can sense but can't define, something that makes them uncomfortable, but they can't articulate why. The new year has arrived, but what was broken has shattered, and in that shattering, you discovered a truth they'll never accept. The truth that destruction isn't always tragic. Sometimes it's liberation. Sometimes the thing that shatters was the thing imprisoning you. Sometimes the death of who you were is the birth of who you actually are, stripped of their expectations, their conditioning, their narratives about who you should be. And that person, that shattered, reassembled from fragments into something new person, that person doesn't fit their world anymore. That person has seen too much, felt too much, lost too much, changed too much. That person is done pretending, done performing, done caring about their approval or their judgment or their fear. So let them celebrate their new year. Let them make their plans and set their goals and believe that this arbitrary date means something cosmic. You know better. You know that real change doesn't happen on schedule. Real transformation doesn't wait for permission from a calendar. Real shattering happens in the dark, alone, unwitnessed, when everything you thought was solid reveals itself as illusion and collapses into dust. And you've already been there. You've already walked through that fire. You've already died that death. This new year isn't your beginning. It's just another day in your aftermath. Another rotation of a planet that doesn't care. Another trip around a sun that will eventually consume everything anyway. And from that perspective, from that shattered, reassembled, nothing left to lose perspective, you're finally free, not happy, not healed, not whole in the way they understand wholeness, but free from their games, free from their expectations, free from the need to be anything other than what the shattering revealed. And that freedom, that cold, hard, unromantic freedom, is something they'll never understand. Because to have it, you have to lose everything first. And they're still desperately clinging to their everything, terrified of the shattering that's already inevitable, already coming, already written in the cracks they're pretending not to see. What was broken has shattered, and you're standing in the fragments, no longer trying to piece together what was, but curious about what comes next, not hopeful, not optimistic, just curious. And that, in a world obsessed with certainty, makes you the most dangerous man in the room.